It's your homie C-Lock from Network and Chill, where the network is real and entrepreneurs build, man. Y'all come on and rock with us.
Sean Fields, man. Y'all know where to catch me every single Monday night. We coming with heat, man. Y'all gotta make sure y'all get your priorities together, man. We going over small business entrepreneurship, some financial tips, man. Pete, tell me, man.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Oh, hey, it's your boy Peanut, CEO of Dash Resource LLC. Your business is my business, and this guy needs a logo. Pharaoh.
Yo, it's Pharaoh. Yeah, make sure you at Gym City Market. Monday, December 19th, man. We there. Entrepreneurs. Yeah, come on.
Deals every day.
Mega stars like Kanye West.
Deals every day.
Creativity.
Million shirts sold.
Bulk orders.
Deals every day.
Free designs for schools.
I love screen printing.
Deals every day.
Orders for everybody.
A million shirts sold.
Deals every day.
Buy one, get one free.
I love working
Deals
here at
every
T-Shirt
day.
King.
Schools, businesses, and sports teams.
Yes.
Deals every day.
Mega stars like Kanye West.
Deals every day.
I got the best team in the world. Creative artists.
Deals every day.
Nah.
Over 1 million t-shirts sold, man. That's a sack.
It is, but you know, I'm upset we ain't sold 2 million yet.
That's all. What's most important for you at T-Shirt Kings, man?
Customer service, man. Taking care of my customers, making sure that they major.
What about your team?
I got the best team in the world. They get busy. They love the customers. We got a saying, I don't gotta go to work, I get to go to work.
What are some of the different styles of shirts that like you can get made here?
I got DTF printing. We are definitely the screen print kings. We turn that around immediately for you, which by the way is what separates us from other companies. Somebody will tell you it takes 2 weeks. I tell you it's gonna take 2 days.
Where do you see T-Shirt Kings like 5-10 years from now?
We're already the best t-shirt company in the world. We already are coming up with concepts that I don't see anybody else doing. You order 20 shirts, 10 of them are free. Bulk discounts, fast turnaround, and free designs.
Completely world class.
Stacking Smith.
What up, fam?
Hey, bro, I heard y'all got a new store opening up.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, yeah, that's good. Where it's at?
100 North Main.
Okay, y'all gonna be doing grills in there?
You already know.
Oh, okay. What's it called then, bro?
It's called
Grills on Main Street. 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 Grills on Main Street.
Yo, what's good? It's your boy Dapper Dash, CEO of Dash Resource LLC, and I have with me the illustrious, the legendary, the legend, Tiffany Countryman. How are you doing?
Yo, what's up, everybody? Thank you so much for having
Oh my God, thank you so much. I'm so glad you're here. You look amazing.
Thank you.
Look amazing.
You look handsome yourself.
Don't get me blushing. Anyway,
What's going on?
Happy St. Patrick's Day to everybody out there. Make sure you guys are drinking responsibly, okay? If you go to my page, I'll show you where all of the checkpoints at. Hey, I'm going to give you information, okay? It's free information, right? That's what I like to do. I find some information, I send it out there. But like this, get the book Stolen at iowastolen.com. Elyon. Don't forget, our event is April 19th at the Shooting Center, 6 o'clock p.m. and 8:30 p.m. So please make sure you get inside there. Get the VIP if you want to be a part of the show also. We're going to let you actually be a part of the show as well. We have food by Taco Street. We have, oh my God, listen, look at the sponsors here. The Shooting Center book signing. We got Ben Swift, the attorney, Dwayne Edwards, Karmel's Date Spy and Salon, Redskyebulls, Pastor Pete, everybody, man. So just come on out there and please make sure you holler at our sponsors as well. We're not here to talk about none of that. Okay? I'm not here to tell y'all nothing, okay? Ahava is great at that, and he ain't here, so it's his fault, okay? Blame him. I'm just playing. He'll be here in a second, but Man, let's talk about something that is viral, which is this book, which is stolen. And the book talks about stress, right? How do you handle stress?
How do I handle stress? Well, I completely check out, Peanut. Like, I'm to the point now. So I have Crohn's disease. Are you familiar with Crohn's disease?
I heard it, don't know.
Well, it's an autoimmune disease that affects your entire body. Go Google it if you don't really know about it. Do your Googles. But with that, if I get too stressed, I have what's called a flare up. So in my whole 20s, I went through that just going, grinding until I pass out. I don't do that in my 30s no more. So when I start feeling stressed or overwhelmed, I just completely check out. I don't do any social media. I rest. I stay in the bed. I drink my water and I mind my business. That's what I do when I'm stressed out. I drink my water and I mind the business that pays me. Amen? Amen. What do you do when you stressed out?
See, I don't have that same thing, but I also check out. And people be mad at me. I just be feeling like I need to protect my peace at that point in time. I just feel like, you know, I call it my deep dark cave that I go in. Like, to me, I think better when I'm not having any outside influences.
Right.
So a lot of times I just go inside this place that I call the deep dark cave, and I just figure out a way to strategize whatever the issue is dealing with. A lot of times my problems are fixed with time and money, right? So a lot of times if I just wait things out, I get exactly what I want out of the situation, or I'm just waiting till I get my money together to fix the situation. So a lot of times it's that.
That's maturity. That comes with maturity and experience and wisdom. Yes.
Yeah, there's a little something in there. Right? All right, so let's talk about some maturity and wisdom and how you got it. Let's talk about, so here I start out. On the Legendary People podcast, let's talk about the origins of our legends. Without further ado, where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Dayton, Ohio, DYT, West Side, Otterbein. What's up? Yes, I grew up in Dayton. I went to Lincoln and E.J. Brown for elementary school. I went to Wilbur-Wright for middle school. No. I'm sorry.
We take things step by step.
Yes, sir. I grew up in Dayton, Ohio.
Okay, Dayton, Ohio, the OH-10 for the win, right?
Yes.
So what? So you said Otterbein. Where about?
I lived on Kensington and Otterbein.
Okay.
So right off of Cornell, right over there, Shaftesbury. Yeah. That's where my hood is.
Yeah, what's up?
Little Richmond Road was right on the corner. We used to ride up the strip. Yeah.
So what was Otterbein like for you growing up? Like,
you know, when I was growing up, I didn't know that I lived in the hood. Like, the RTA bus literally came down my street 5 times a day, and I didn't think nothing of it. But I am a city girl through and through. We were a tight-knit neighborhood. I lived with my grandmother, so she knew all the neighbors. I mean, it was the bowl of sugar, let me borrow a couple of eggs type of neighborhood. And I appreciate that type of growing up. And, I mean, it was lit. Like, a police officer got killed on our street.
What? You can't say it was lit and then follow that by saying a police officer was killed 4 doors down from me. Well, let me tell the truth. So the police officer was shot by my neighbor, and she was paralyzed for a long time, but the paralysis led to death. What? So it's crazy. Did that change your perspective on what life and death was, being so young and hearing about that? It did, because what happened was when I came home, the entire street was taped off. So I was like terrified. I think I was like in the 6th grade, and my grandma was like, "That's my grandbaby, that's my grandbaby," and the police carried me across the line. I even saw the police officer laying in the driveway. What? Yeah, it had just happened as buses were busing us home. Oh my God. Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, it was, I don't know, I guess I became immune to it, I guess. Like, I don't think I'm traumatized or anything by it. I don't think. Right. You don't think? I don't think. Right. We'll get to that a little later. So, do you have your mom and dad at the house, or you live in a different situation? My mom for sure. My dad was addicted to drugs when I was growing up. He was addicted to cocaine. He got swept up in that cocaine epidemic. And he was in and out of the house. I always knew who my father was, but he wasn't there. Like, he wasn't there. When he was there, he wasn't there being a father. He was just there. So, I mean, were you told that he was on drugs, or like, in hindsight, like, what were some of the things that you saw that you knew, like, yeah, like, you know what I'm saying, he's battling addiction? No, I wasn't told. My mom kept it legit. Like, she was 10 toes down for old dude, for real. So she protected us, my brother and I. I didn't know until, so my dad left when I was 11 and was gone for 7 years. Just out of nowhere.
Just out of nowhere. And before that, he would be gone for like a couple weeks at a time, a couple months at a time. But one day when I was 11, he left. It didn't come back for 7 years. During that time, my mom didn't talk bad about him. And I can only imagine now being a woman and being a mother. She never talked bad about him. And I didn't know that he was addicted to drugs until he came back when I was 18.
So, was there ever a explanation on where he had went, or was it just he was in the streets?
The streets had him.
Wow.
Streets had him.
So, like what did mom do for a living?
Mom, she worked at Miami Valley Hospital for 44 years.
44 years.
She just retired a couple of years ago.
Salute to mom.
Yeah, she retired 2020, year of the pandemic.
Look, a good time to check out.
She was like, I'm done.
Like, yep.
So she probably would have did 45, but she did a good 44.
Yeah. 444, that's the price of the book, y'all. Look. It's divine.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, for sure. So sibling wise, it was just you and your brother.
It was my brother. I have an older sister, but she's 8 years older than me. So by the time I became aware of life, she was already out the house. Right. So growing up, it was my brother and I.
So you talk about your aunties to pick you and your brother up and take you to the library.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah, my auntie was a real one because my mom was working and my auntie, she always worked in the school system, so she was off in the summers. So she would come and swoop my brother and I, and we would go to the local library, and they had like this little competition program. If you read so many books, you got a prize, and they give you like a little stamp and stuff. So I was in it. I always been competitive. So that was my focus. She made sure that we stayed out the streets during the summer. So shout out to my Aunt Denise. What's up, Auntie?
Shout out
Hey, Auntie.
For sure. So, did you know anything about plays during this time? Were you ever embraced? Like, what was your first exposure to like the art of play?
Oh man, the first exposure I can remember. So my sister, the one that's 8 years older than me, she went to Colonel White, and back in the day, back in the day, that was the School of the Arts. When before Stivers became a middle school or a high school. I'm just thinking now, like Colonel White's gone, Stivers is a whole high school now. So she
Never
was.
Heard of BW, y'all. I don't know. Right over my head.
So she was in a lot of plays and stuff in her high school years. So that's the earliest I can remember. So I'm like, what? 9, 10 at this time, and she did a play called Once on This Island, and I love that play so much. I know all the lines, the singing, and everything. So that was my first exposure, was at Colonel White High School.
That's hard. So, who are some of your day one friends?
Day one friends?
Yeah. We gotta go back there. Yeah.
Let's see. Ashley Long, Demetrius Roberts. So Ashley is in Florida right now.
Okay, shout out to her.
Demetrius is in Georgia. And I'm still here.
Still standing, okay? We monuments now, okay?
I'm still here.
Monuments don't move.
They don't move. We stationary. But we still have a presence.
Right.
So those are the two that I would say that are my day ones. But I got like my homie Tamika Ludd. Like that's my homie. That's that. And then Rhea Atkins. She's a part of my tribe. And then, like, my entire church family, those are my peoples. So that's about it. I don't roll heavy.
So let's talk about religion. So, like, what was your, were you the church going every Sunday kind of thing? Okay.
Church, I'm a pew baby. Church has been ingrained in me. My grandmother was a church mother. So we would go to church with her every Sunday. Then my mom got into church probably about when I was around 10 or 11. So then we started going to church with her. And I just been kicking it with Jesus ever since.
For sure. So, like, in hindsight, I mean, like, how do you feel about, you know what I'm saying, early adoption of like, learning religion? Because to me, right, I was not forced to go to church, right? And, of course, other things will creep into your life if you don't, right? And it's like, nowadays, I feel like I have more of a, I can appreciate every walk of life and like religion. When I hear some of my friends are just like super indoctrinated, where it's like no, it's only one way to do this. I'm like, bro, God ain't one way. God is everything.
Well, the Christian lifestyle teaches us that there's one way to God, just like every other lifestyle teaches that that's their way to God. So as a Christian, my route to God is Jesus. But I've also grown and been exposed. You know, when you go to college and stuff, you just that strict doctrine, it just, you know, it lightens up. So I respect everyone's choice of religion. But as for me, my way to God is Jesus, because that's what the Bible teaches me.
That's great. That's great. So what is your most fondest childhood memory? And I've asked this question probably 200 times. It's always the first thing you think about.
The first thing I think about? Yeah. That's funny, because I thought about my dad.
There we go.
My fondest memory, because so there was a park down the street, Audubon and Kensington. There was a park a block down, and I remember my dad put me on his shoulders and walking me down to the park.
Wow.
Yep. That's the first thing that came to my head when you asked that question.
That's amazing. Yeah. I mean, to me, like, that would stand out.
Yeah.
Like, relationship between your mom and him.
Yeah.
So, I mean, on the doorstep of that, I can ask you, what is your worst childhood memory?
Oh my gosh. So, I mean, not to put my family business in the streets.
It's not it's your life story. Like, it's your life story.
So I've seen my mom and dad fight before. I've seen my dad. See, this is the thing, the story. My mom ain't gonna see this. So the story
Hi, Mom.
The story is they was tussling, and my dad says my mom threw him down the steps. But my mom says he fell down the steps. Okay. So, but I was there. I saw my dad go down the steps. Right. I don't know how it happened. So that's my dad. Now, you talk about traumatized. I'm traumatized by that. Because my dad ended up breaking his finger.
Wow. Well, to be transparent, I'll tell you my first memory.
Okay, go ahead.
So my first memory of life is literally identical to that almost, right?
Wow.
So my mom and dad were on the front porch in Westwood. I don't know what's going on. I was looking from, I just remember being little. I had to be less than 6 years old. And I'm watching from the screen door. And I see my mom and dad arguing. I see my mom push my dad over the banister.
It happens.
And he falls to the bushes as the police are pulling up.
Oh, man.
That's my first memory of life.
Oh, man. Growing up in Dayton, Ohio, I tell you. But yeah, that's not too far. I mean, that's just life, you know?
For sure. So how were you early on as a student in school?
I was horrible. I had a
Give me an example how you were.
I had a lot of behavioral issues because of the home life. I was fighting all the time. I was disrespectful to teachers. I know how to throw hands. You better ask about T Wood. You better ask about me. I fought up until 8th grade. Wow. And I actually got into a fight my freshman year, but I got the brakes beat out of me.
What?
And I didn't fight no more after that.
Wait.
Meadowdale in the cafeteria.
We don't only jump stories, right? We gotta get to this asshole. I
got beat.
What happened?
So it was this girl. I'm never gonna forget this. It was this girl. I ain't gonna say her name because she might still be on Facebook. But it was this girl. I'm not scared of her now. I'm just saying. We ended up, we was freshmen, so we all right. Like she ain't gonna see me on site. But fighting over a dude. So it was this guy. Supposedly her and the guy was best friends. And so I come along as the girlfriend, and she had issues with it. So she had beef with me. And so we sitting at one of the round cafeteria tables. Remember tables that had the feet connected to it?
Yeah, for sure.
So we sat at the table and we just talking ish back and forth. Man, homegirl got up and literally launched across the table, across the round table, and took me out and just went in. And I had my glasses on that day, so my glasses broke. It scratched my face. So I was walking around with this long scratch for about 2 months. Thank God it healed up. And yeah, I got to the truth. She whooped my butt. But after that, I didn't fight no more. I just needed one good butt whooping. Yup.
So, I mean, if you got a bad kid out there, maybe that one
butt whooping will change your life. Change your life.
Okay, so back to when you was a bad student, right?
Yeah.
You was out here terrorizing. Did you still have some of the counterparts that you value today?
Yeah, I've always been, a hard worker, competitive. Even though I was bad in school, I made good grades. Like, I was always on the honor roll, but I was always suspended. Like, it was an oxymoron. Yeah. So yeah, I still have that type of scholastic vibe about me. Like, I'm a geek, real talk. I still have, the tenacity in me. I'm a little rah-rah sometimes, but I know when to pull it back.
Right.
So yeah, I still got a little bit of that in me.
Right.
For sure.
So what middle school did you go to?
Wilbur-Wright.
Wilbur-Wright. Okay.
Highland.
Right. So around middle school, we start to kind of smell ourselves a little bit, right?
Absolutely.
So I like to ask people who are creative, like, what kind of music were you into during that time?
I was in band. Oh, music.
Yeah.
Oh, it was hip hop. That was
Okay.
right. Like that was at the cusp of the end of the 90s era, early 2000s when Diddy was on the scene, and he changed the vibe of hip hop. But I've always been a hip hop head because of my sister. She's older than me, and I even love Motown because of my mama.
That's all.
But yeah, individually, I was part of Hip Hop Nation.
Okay, cool. So is this where you got your intro to band also?
No, I started band in elementary school.
Oh, okay. So like you was what portion of the band were you?
I actually played the drums. I played the drums.
The one
I
that
played
do the beats and put the beats on.
Yeah, that was me. I played the saxophone before. I played the clarinet, but drums I really learned. Like I know how to read drum sheet music. I know how to play set. I know how to play snare. I know how to play like auxiliary. Like that's my niche.
Wow. Okay. So middle school, you pilot. You know what I'm saying?
A pilot, yeah.
Right. This is where are you still being a bad kid during this time?
Middle school, absolutely. Absolutely terrible. I was worse in middle school than I was in elementary because the teachers favored me because I was so smart that I was able to get my stuff done. So I was roaming the halls. I was hanging out in my favorite teacher's classroom. Shout out to Miss Howard, Miss Harris. I was hanging in their classrooms. You know, I was absolutely. I thought I was it when I wasn't, but I thought I was wearing a uniform.
Right. So what one story that encapsulates something like you feel would be important about your middle school experience?
Man, the first thing that comes to mind is I orchestrated the greatest fight of my 8th grade year. I didn't fight, but I was like, who was the old dude with the crazy hair?
Coolio?
No, that used to do boxing matches and stuff.
Don King.
I was the Don King of this fight. I was in the 7th grade.
I have a whole different perspective of you now.
Thank you.
Thank you. I love the real you.
Thank you. I was in the 7th grade. It was 2 8th graders. You know, when you in middle school, it's the 8th graders that take on the little 7th graders, like little sisters. So she was like one of my big sisters, and she had beef with this other girl from the hood, and they brought it into the school. So I was going back and forth, like such and such said this, such and such said that. So I was being a major instigator, and I had them meet in a particular. So we had like clusters and stuff. So I was like, we gonna meet in the Hawks area. Man, we met in the Hawks area. And they banged, because there wasn't no teachers down there. It was. Now that I think back on it, was crazy, but at the time, it was the greatest thing I ever did. I wish I would have took bets and made money. I'm just kidding. I mean, it was a real life play that you put together. It was like I was like, this is gonna happen today, because it was so much just y'all. I was like, nah, y'all gonna bang today.
For sure. So like you showed your ability to put on.
I showed my ability to project manage.
Exactly. There we go. Put that on top of your resume, guys. Right there, right?
Yup.
So you finally graduate from middle school. Not finally, because you graduated on time. And then you're going into high school. What is your thought process moving into high school? And like a lot of times you got a chance to pick what high school you're going to.
Yeah.
Did you personally pick Monodale?
No. My mom picked all of my schools. So I grew up on the west side, but I went to Wilbur-Wright because she picked that school for us because of the curriculum. So my mom also picked Meadowdale because of the IB program, the International Baccalaureate program. Shout out. So that's what I said. I was smart. So I was in that program. That's why I ended up going to Meadowdale.
Okay, so you finally get the. So what would you have rather had gone if you?
Dunbar.
Everybody.
I would have rather had gone to Dunbar because that was back in the day with Daquan Cook.
Oh yeah.
Norris Cole. Yeah. I mean, it was jumping. I was at all their games, but I wasn't a Wolverine, unfortunately. Okay. No, I love being a Lion. Let me not say that. No. But in 8th grade, I wanted to go to Dunbar.
You'll tuck your Lion pride, right?
Yes.
So you come to Meadowdale, and one thing that I like about Meadowdale is that they kind of they give you leeway.
Yeah.
Like they kind of let you kind of fill yourself out to be who you're gonna be. I mean, like they don't push you to be anything, which kind of be a negative thing. But they also give you enough room to develop, right? So what are some of the things and ways that you develop besides You can get one with that
Think
time.
about boy. I think I developed socially at Meadowdale because we were forced in the IB program. We were all in the same classes together for 4 years. So we would start off in homeroom, then go to English together, then go to where other kids, you know, that bell got to mix in, but we were together. So I think that built me up socially. The importance of relationship and the importance of teamwork is what I think Meadowdale taught me. Yeah.
It taught me that at lunchtime you meet up with your friends and then you miss the next 2 classes.
Basically, that was senior year for me.
For sure. So at this time, like, what are your goals for after high school?
While I was in high school, I got a full ride to Wright State because I was in the Wright State program. So I was just focused on going to college. And what did I major in at first? I majored in marketing at first.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, pretty sure you're really good at marketing fights at this point in time. But, hey, that's neither here nor there. Tiffany King.
Basically.
All right. So, what's your experience to, you know, I mean, so let's not fast forward past, you know, to like graduation. So when you graduated, mom's happy.
Oh yeah.
Going on. She's obviously proud of you, and then you tell her, hey, I want to go to school for marketing. Is she saying, okay, good idea, or she saying she was doing anything else?
Oh, she says good idea. She signed me up for the Right Step program. So she was very intentional. She wanted us to have a better life that she had. So going to college wasn't even an option for me. It was like, this is what you're going to do. When I graduated for my senior gift, she bought me a brand new Dell laptop.
There we go.
So she was very supportive in that journey.
Okay.
For sure.
So you get to Wright State. What is your experience?
I sucked. I completely lose my mind. All the freedom, and then I was on scholarship, so we got a stipend for food. I mean, it was like I was living in luxury because I didn't have to pay for anything. Everything was just handed to me. I stayed in the honors dorm. We had our own little computer lab. It was just, and I just lost my mind. I lost my mind. I ended up going through freshman forgiveness, so I had to go back to school that summer to make up for the classes I squandered freshman year. And then sophomore year, I did the same thing, and I lost my scholarship.
Oh man! So how does it feel to like tell your mom, you know, I'm down and out? If she was mad and disappointed, she didn't really show it. She showed me a lot of grace because I was sick during that time as well. But just being honest, it wasn't just that I was sick. I was losing my mind at the same time. But she didn't really, she just was like, all right, so what you gonna do? What's next? Like, let's go with what's next. So I did ended up going back to school. When I had my daughter, I was like, I gotta go back to school. So I went back to school and got my degree in communications. There we go.
Yeah.
There we go. And she's exceptional at it, right?
Thank you.
So what kind of led to you becoming a playwright? Like, what are some of your earlier steps towards that?
So funny story. So I was starting a career in HR, human resources, and I was doing very well, making a lot of money and progressing. But I couldn't get a man to save my life. And so I went to therapy and I was like, what's wrong with me? Like, why can't I get or keep a man? And working it out in therapy, they told me that I had daddy issues. And so the thing was, my therapist told me to go home and write letters to my dad, because I had all of these like odds against him. Like, you didn't show up for this or you didn't do this. So she told me to go home and write letters to my dad. So the way that I was writing was so descriptive. I've always been a great writer. That was so descriptive that I was like, this is a play. So I turned into my first play, which is I Wish I Had a Daddy.
Wow.
I produced it myself at the Dayton Convention Center. It was a sold out show.
Your first, wait. For people in the back don't know that, like, that's one of the most ultimate plays I've heard on this platform. Your very first play was at
the Dayton Convention Center.
That's all.
October. It was on my birthday, October 20th, 2018. And I produced it because, like I said, I was making a lot of money at HR, so I was able to bankroll it. I had help from Marvel Williams Parker. She was my director at the time. And we made it work, and it was a hit. And I have written and produced a show every year since then.
Let's go to that very first time, right?
Yeah.
Are you nervous? Walk us through that very first.
I'm extremely nervous because the last week and a half of rehearsals, I wasn't in rehearsals. So I didn't know what the show formed to be.
What do you mean that like you weren't in rehearsals?
They kicked me out of rehearsals.
Were you being too much of a
I don't think. I think maybe I was. I wasn't told that, but maybe I was. But I think it was more so just let the art conform to what it is instead of for me, I wanted to be what was on the pages, what was in the script. But the director was like, "But I see this and I feel this," so it was more so just like, "All right, let me let the director do the director's job," and the director did an awesome job.
Shout out to the director.
Shout out to Marvel. What's up, Marvel? Yeah.
I mean, I cannot imagine me being the brainchild of something. So tell me, no, get out. I know what to do. Like, wait a minute, cuz you gonna make me replace you as me. I'm gonna be the director.
Yeah, it was difficult, but it worked out. It worked out.
Sure. So, how does it feel for it to be a success? Also, because like a lot of times we come in and stuff. Like for instance, so we have our very first live podcast, April 19th at the Schuster Center, which is kind of a parallel, right? We've never done
that. That's a flex. That's a flex.
I kind of humbly say it, guys, right? But it's like, we are kind of, I mean, not saying like we can't do it like that. It's going to be a phenomenal night. We're doing 2 shows in one night. But there is some type of nervousness not knowing how the outcome is going to be.
Absolutely.
So what was it like to be nervous about the outcome and then you achieve the desired outcome?
I wasn't nervous about it being sold out. I knew it was gonna be sold out because I put the work into that mug. I went on what was called Ticket Tour, and I went around to different churches and different community events and promoted the show. I'll tell you about it. Cause it's the best process ever. So I went Ticket Tour, was selling tickets, word of mouth. Then I had a 10-person cast. So each cast member was selling tickets and they got 10% of the tickets that they sold. So that made them sell more tickets.
Makes sense.
So I knew before show day that it was going to be sold out. It was the actual show itself I was nervous about, but I knew it was going to be sold out because I put in that work.
All right. Guys at home, I hope you take note because I just did, right?
Put in that work.
Yeah, so you get that out the way.
Yeah.
What is your next step? Are you saying, okay, I need to do another show? Or are you saying I need to take this one to the next move? Like, what do you do next?
We were going to do an encore show of I Wish I Had a Daddy, but that fell through because some of the cast members was what they was. And that fell through. So I went on to my next endeavor, and that's when I hooked up with a couple of people and we did a couple of shows. We did a monologue series, we did a musical, and we did another play itself. And so then I did Rona the Aftermath during the pandemic, and that's what really put me on top. That was a show that I wrote, directed, and produced myself, as well as my best friend Tamika Love. And it won me an award from California. And it's still winning me awards today. So Rona the Aftermath that's my baby.
That's hard. Can you walk us through like your creative process? Like especially when you're developing a new play and having to make new characters and new dialogue. Walk us through your creative process.
All of my characters are real. All of my characters are pieces of my life. I just may or may not change the name. Like, and I Wish I Had a Daddy, the main character, James, that is my father's name. I wanted to call him out by name.
Wow.
Rona the Aftermath was my marriage, the beginning and the ending. So I'm writing what I feel, my passion. It's real art. It's live. It's moving. It just oozes out of me. I do have a client now that we're writing a show for her. So we're writing her life story. And I could tell the difference in my creative process because it's not me. It's not my DNA, but it's still what she wants it to be. So I'm glad I'm having this experience right now. But it's me. It's parts of me. Every character is a part of me.
So like, what challenges have you faced and like bringing a play to life?
The haters.
The haters?
That's the biggest challenge, is the naysayers and the haters.
What? To me, it'd be like, I would think a hater would be the biggest thing, right? Like, I would be thinking that, like, scheduling will be like one of them things. Like, nah, I'm good on the scheduling.
No, I'm a natural project manager, so stuff that stresses people out gives me joy. Like I like paperwork and organizing and making sure this person. I like that. But for me, I deal with imposter syndrome heavily. So when those voices start getting in my ear and getting in my head, that's the fight. That's the struggle.
For people at home who don't know imposter syndrome, can you please enlighten me?
So imposter syndrome is basically yourself telling yourself that you're not good enough, that you're not great enough, that you're fake and phony, and that you're just out here putting on a show, and that you're not really as great as you really are. And a lot of great people deal with that because and I'm gonna be honest with you, Peanut, it's like we're superheroes. Like, I know you know that feeling. Like, we're superheroes doing I know you do. Schuster Center. Doing great things, but we're still human. It's that flesh and the morality that, keeps us balanced. And so a lot of people, like, that's why a lot of celebrities are strung out on drugs and stuff, because you dealing with that fight of greatness and that fight of just not being good enough.
Right. And then like another thing is this, like when you have something that you are being a trailblazer in, someone can always say, you haven't done it yet. But it's like, I'm currently doing it. I'm taking steps towards that. And it always makes you, it will put that cloud of doubt in the back of your mind. Say, can I really achieve that thing?
Yep.
You know you can. Like, you've already put together the whole steps. You got the whole business plan lined up. You got all your ducks in a row. You're just working through the process.
Yeah.
But you have the people out there that will be naysayers. And sometimes the fog gets in and you start to second guess yourself. That's why meditation is key.
It's key. And the block and unfollow button on social media is a blessing as well.
And take a break is a good one too. Sometimes, like, if be your people that be getting your nerves, you can hit the three dots and take a break.
Take a break.
Take a break.
Mute.
Right. So also, like through your trespasses of, organizing fights in school and
You ain't never gonna let me live that down.
Organizing fights in school to almost dropping out, to going back, finishing, to writing plays and that there. You also are an amazing stage player.
Oh yes, I am a superior
stage
player.
Superior. Okay.
Like, I'm top tier.
So can you take someone who is inexperienced and win the game?
What you mean?
Like
I am beat somebody that's inexperienced?
No, I'm saying like
as a partner?
Yeah. If your teammate is terrible.
I'm gonna give you two different stories. So
okay, here we go.
I've worked on the table with two inexperienced partners, and I don't know if I'm gonna do a third one. The first one was cool, but she got an attitude because she couldn't take the trash talking, which that's the culture. Yeah. And the second one reneged, lost me 3 books. So I don't know. Like, you got to be able to take, like, that's the part of the game. Like, but reneging is absolutely no. But like the trash talking and stuff, you got to be able to take it. And that's what I found with inexperienced people, is that they can't take the pressure. Like, if you just following the books, then you can do that. But the culture, everything that comes with spades, like, you got, it's the culture, like, it's the movement, man. Especially for Black people, like, spades is a rite of passage. You can sit down with 3 strangers. You can have a partner that you ain't never met before, ain't never talked about. If they know how to play spades, y'all is best friends for the rest of y'all lives. Like, families come together. At barbecues, people at the picnic tables, like, it's a thing, it's a vibe.
Speaking of barbecue.
Great
segue. You're great at this.
Thank you. I ain't even trying to do it on purpose, but thank you.
Yeah. Let's talk about the barbecue event that's coming up.
Yes, we have a huge event. So because of my playwriting and producing, I was able to interview and get hired by the only professional theater company in the city. And that's the Human Race Theater Company. Shout out to the Human Race. Thank y'all for having me. I appreciate y'all. So my role there is the learning and engagement coordinator. And basically what I do is connect the community and the theater together. It's a lot of things that the theater doesn't know about the community. There's a lot of things that the community doesn't know about theater or nothing at all. So we have a show coming up called Barbecue. And with that, we're going to do a huge community event. We're going to do a community barbecue. It's 100% free. It's on April 15th at the Inspiration Church, 2900 Philadelphia Drive, 45405. Come and pull up on us. It's from 2 to 5 p.m. We're going to have food trucks. We're going to have a tent. We're going to have all type of stuff. We have free food for those who can't afford the food truck. So we're going to have about 50 to 100 hot dogs, 50 to 100 hamburgers. So come and vibe with us because we really want to connect with the community. We just want to love on y'all for a little bit.
That's love. That's love. And also, I invite you to come out to the Poetic Game Night event because I have to see this world-class spades player in front of me. Okay. Superior. Okay. Superior spades player as well. Let's talk about the Empower Her.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah, so like walk us through what it's like to be honored at such a prestigious event that you know it has world-class appeal with all of the top tier names from.
Wow. Well, first of all, it's humbling because I followed Dr. Karen Townsend forever. I don't know her personally. I would love to build a relationship with her. I love her too, but I haven't had a chance to like vibe with her. You know what I'm saying? And so when I saw that she was
the third perk, okay.
Yeah.
That's where she be at, okay?
On downtown or the Gym City?
Downtown.
See, I be downtown, so I'll be anyways. Yeah. So when I saw that she was the keynote speaker, I think that's when it sunk in how important this was. Like, oh shoot, like this is kind of dope. So it was amazing to sit and listen to her wisdom that she shared with us. And shout out to all of the honorees because they all doing their thing. I mean, they doing their thing in their respectable spaces. And it was just a really great event. Shout out to Nod, Gym City Selfie Museum, to the Dayton Human Relations Council, to Erica, to Mariah, the Dayton Library. Like, I appreciate y'all for honoring the homie. Like, that's what's up.
That's hard. So, but also we talked in pre-production about, you know, the transformation since the pandemic. It's kind of like we become closer knitted as a family.
Absolutely.
And supported. And a lot of times through tragedy, we always come together. I mean, through the women's suffrage movement, through all different trials and tribulation through life, we seem to come together when it comes to that. And I just feel like, why do we need bad stuff to happen for us to love on each other?
Why? I don't know. I think it jars us back into reality because we become so desensitized by TV, by our own thoughts in our heads that sometimes we get so disconnected and distracted from reality. But when something happens like losing a loved one or the things that Dayton has experienced, the mass shooting, the tornado, stuff like that, it makes us realize our morality and that life is just a vapor. Like, we don't have as much time as we think we do. Sure. Like, I'm thinking now, like, I'm 35 years old. Like, where did the 35 years go? Like, wow. Right. So I think it just really jars us back into reality.
So what is next for the great Tiffany Countryman?
Next, you know, I'm really getting settled in to my new role with the Human Race Theater, and there's a lot of work and a lot of goals that we have and a lot of things that we're going to do in the community, and I am so honored to be at the forefront of this groundbreaking, you know, movement that we're making as a company. I'm excited to be able to learn more because I did everything independently, but now I'm working with a professional theater company. So I'm just in a season where I'm very teachable, where I'm quiet, and I'm just going with the flow and letting what God has for me come to me. So I'm just really just being settled. Like, I don't have a lot more drilling in me. You know, I feel like I've laid the foundation and now I'm ready to build my house.
Man, so here on the Legendary People podcast, we have a thing called the butterfly effect. Either something you said in the course of the interview or something I found in the course of my research that I found to be truly profound and amazing.
Okay.
First of all, before I met you, I only had, secondary interactions such as other people know you and then, me seeing the big personality online. You are an amazing person just to start off with. I mean, just like down to the break pass, you are an amazing person. And then now I see where the realness comes from. I mean, when you get a chance to peel back the fabrics and find out, like you had to deal with certain things in your life that, that are challenging. Mm-hmm. And then like the secondary part of you having the Crohn's disease will make things even more challenging when you're already being combated with challenging things. But for you to have, a safe space such as like the library and then for that to be like your safe haven, and then,
Yeah.
and then you look at the fabric of life, and like I said, God is the best poet ever, that you are being honored at a library.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying? Like
That's
like,
kind of dope.
That is super dope. And
Wow.
It's like, those type of things are just like breadcrumbs to show you that you're on the right road to success. I mean, it's kind of deja vu. It's just kind of out of body experience. But it's like to be honored with someone who you revered as, you know what I'm saying, like one of the goats. Dr. Karen, to be honored there, to get your flowers there. It's just crazy to just think about all these things that you've been able to accomplish. And some of these things were just out of your own personal trespasses or things that were thorns to you turn into armor and shields.
Wow.
And just stuff that you use to protect and empower others. And
Praise God.
It is truly amazing who you become through life hitting you and molding you into something that's great.
I appreciate that, man. That hits me right here.
For sure. We appreciate you. You are our first ballot Hall of Famer. Okay, legendary status. Stamped and approved here.
Let's go.
Sure. So, where can people get in contact with you? So, you know, for booking and everything else like that.
Booking, you can go to TiffanyCountryman.com. You can hit me up on Facebook. That's where I vibe the most. I also got an Instagram, stuff like that. All of my social media is at Tiff Countryman. You can hit me up. Email ministryisme@gmail.com.
Okay, and when's the next play?
The next play, so we have, with the Human Race Theater, we have Barbecue coming up in April. And then personally, we have a Feet That Preach, a dance play, and that's coming up in July.
Feet That Preach. Oh, hopefully July 24th. That's my birthday.
No, it's the 15th.
Look, got the date out of it.
He's good.
You want the 15th for some reason. Ain't the 15th? July
That's just how the Saturdays fell this year.
I'm gonna look up what 15 mean, okay? We'll get back.
Tell me what it be. Tell me what it be.
I have no idea. I don't have all the answers. But thank you so much for coming on here and sharing your story. You are amazing. Thank you so much. Legendary People Podcast, Legendary People, Legendary Stories. Be a capitalist, not a victim, is lifting you out. What's your gun sound like?
My gun.
What's your gun sound like?
Bang, bang.
And mine is like this. Silence. Love y'all.
Bye.
That was amazing.
That was dope.
Told you, man, we don't need no
Whenever